Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the first day of September 2022. Well, I hope you're having a good week. It was, I think, 101 here yesterday. I don't know what it's supposed to be today, but I think my husband said he looked last night and it's going to be 102 tomorrow. So but I think next week it's gonna get into the 80s. I hope. This is just awful to have this constant triple digit weather is just too much. So, but I probably shouldn't complain. At least we don't have flooding where we are. Although we did have a fire yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Not far from us. Some property caught on fire. Oh gosh, maybe around a mile away from us, maybe. I'm not sure, but very close to us. What really wasn't in any danger, but they had a whole bunch of agencies come and fight it. Ended up just being 10 acres, and I think they saved the barn. So this big old, it was actually pretty old looking barn that's right over there, and I actually know somebody that lives right over there. So I hope it wasn't. I don't think it was his property. I think it was maybe one adjacent to him, but I mean, they had like go now evacuation orders. It was crazy. But fortunately, they got that taken care of, and uh, so it's all out now, which is very good because the wind was blowing our way. So, ah. Well, let's go ahead and get started with the esoteric influences for today. I can't even talk this morning. On the 1st of September, the one gives us a one numerology. So new beginnings and talent and leadership and all of that. Vunyo is the Elder Futhark rune for today in the esoteric influences, joy and fellowship. Populus is the Geomancy rune, and it's more of following the crowd. It could be instead of its complement via, which is the journey or the path or the way. It's more of a singular type of experience. This is a group experience, a little more passive influence. So it might be something where on a day like this where you draw populace, it could indicate that maybe someone isn't as assertive as they need to be, or they're going to go along to get along kind of thing. And or it could just be that there's a collaborative effort going on as well, and you're just part of that experience. So I hate to use populace in a real negative sense, really, but sometimes it can be. Jupiter is in Aries today, and as far as the interpretation goes, you're an individual who loves spending time with others. Let's bring this up here so I can see it better. Your relationships offer a means of spiritual engagement and shared truth. However, you need to find a balance between what you need spiritually and taking care of routine tasks today. In fact, if you can see those tasks as a spiritual expression, you may find that your struggle resolves. You can kind of get into your head and you forget about all the stuff you have to do, and that seems to be the energy for today. As the day goes on, your higher principles will guide your leadership of others. You intrinsically understand their motivation, and you recognize any patterns that might signal manipulation of the outcome. If this is concerning someone who is a bit demanding, you'll need to proceed with caution, but that doesn't mean you allow deception to drive the experience. So that could relate a little bit to populace. It just depends, if people are unwilling to stand up for what needs to be, then I can see where that might be a problem. So anyhow, that's the esoteric influences for Thursday, the first day of September. Those go out, by the way, on Saturday evenings. I publish 3 different posts beginning in the 6 o'clock hour, usually a few minutes apart from one another. And that one, along with the ascendant rays, nodes, and aspects for the week coming up, and also the daily correspondences for work and magic. Those also go up. I also did another one, a Kabbalion based one, and oh gosh, what was it called? Well, it's there on the blog anyway. I think it was polarity, rhythm, and cause and effect. I wanted to get the order right. Yeah, it's polarity, rhythm, and cause and effect, and how that plays out in our lives, especially, well, like, for now with all of the weird stuff going on. So that's there too. Today's rune for the reading, though, is I was. And I was is another as above, so below rune. It's basically comprised by Isa and Laguz. But instead of Laguz forward and reverse, it's just basically, it's the spiral aspect, basically, of the energetic experience we have into form. And it's basically, it incorporates flow from spirit, but it's the circular flow, if you will. It's almost like a bridge to higher consciousness in a way. But it's that spiral. If you just think of everything spiraling into form, and you turn I was on its side, that's basically what's happening. It's basically this spiral energy into awareness, and it's the energy of spirit that kind of, it's the reciprocity of that, I think. Hopefully that ego will then respond to that and try to do better than it often does. But it's basically that spiral flow of higher awareness into our lives. So, in the decisions and perceptions that we have. So I can put that one over there. Let's go ahead and look at the Geomancy rune, the below side of things, and see if it aligns with that. Well, this is acquisitio. So gain. That's a missio. Where is acquisitio? Acquisitio is about it's one of those, we have a missio and you have acquisitio. Here we go. This would be acquisitio, or gain, or increase. And then the opposite would be, its complement would be, the other side of the equation essentially would be a missio, or loss, or decrease. So this does not have to have a value judgment attached to it. It can simply be energetic. And so something may increase today for you. And if it's in alignment with I was, then you're really talking about an increase of higher awareness, the connection between opposites, link between realms, if you will. It can be, I was is also useful in trance work. It's also protective. So there could be an increased sense maybe of or a gain of more spirituality, more spiritual awareness in your life. So there could be that happening today. Let's move that stuff out of the way. I've shuffled somewhat. Let's see what else we can do though here to increase our chances of getting something unique. Sometimes I shuffle the cards, and I do that sometimes when I do readings on my own away from here, and I'll get the same doggone cards I got the time before. So it's like, well, clearly something is amiss here, or it's reinforcing another reading that I did. So, but I don't like to take that as the initial feeling of it. I would prefer to think I did something, and I didn't shuffle enough or something. Let's go ahead and see what we have today. Well, we have one cup from the court, the Knight of Cups. Cups is the water element. The other two are from Pentacles. Pentacles is about our physical reality. It's about our material security, tradition, family, work, anything like that, home life. And I'm going to leave this, I think, in the order that it is, and not worry about. I may at some point when I start reading these things, I may and putting them together, I might move them around, but right now I'm going to leave them as they are. So here we have the Eight of Cups. or cups, I'm sorry, pentacles. Got cups in my head here. We see a man sitting on a bench, and he's basically practicing his craft, and he's creating his material security here. You can see in the background here likely his home, or it could be, you see a pathway up to it. It's possible this is his home, or it could be part of the town over here. But he's working diligently on his craft so that he can build his wealth, and you can see the wealth building here. 8 is about material security. It's about also approval and recognition. So he could be sitting out there, and others could be coming by and looking at. You see that in the 3 of Pentacles, where 2 women are coming by and watching this other stonemason doing some work there. And so there's always this feeling of what you're doing to build your legacy, what you're doing to build your wealth, your material security for yourself and your family. And all of that with the 8. Then we have some destitution here with the 5 of Pentacles. We see 2 people walking. They're in. One is on crutches. He's got an injured foot. Does he also have it? Yeah, I think he's also got a bandage on his head. You can barely see that, though, in this particular card. The snow is coming down. And so they're sort of leaning into the elements, aren't they? They're walking through snow. Next to them is likely a church, and we know that because of the stained glass window. Now, 5 represents actually a variety of things. It actually represents the pentagram, and it's going to be air. It's the elements plus spirit, so air, fire, water, earth plus spirit. But it also represents innovation and variety, freedom versus restriction, and also protection. So they're walking by this church, though, and the impression I get from this card is that there's help there, but either it doesn't want to open the door to them, or they just can't see it. They're so wrapped up in their own stuff that they can't see that help is on the other side of that window. So they're walking on by, and the implication is that they're not going inside. And so there's been a change in circumstances. That's another aspect of the 5. It's that there's been a change in circumstances. So here you're basically building your wealth, but here there's a change in circumstances. Now we're going to assume these are the same people involved. I mean, it may not be, but at some point there's a change in circumstances, and maybe you can't see the help that's available. And then enter the Knight of Cups. We may need a 4th card here. The knights are always chivalrous. 2 go in a forward direction toward the future, and 2 go into the past. But the suit of cups it's movement. It can be a passive influence, but yet at the same time it can also bring great change. And so instead of and I wonder if, because he's holding the chalice out in offering, I'm wondering if he's trying to provide a solution here. A little bit of emotional security, maybe. But there's a sense of a visionary. He can see into the future, perhaps, with the Knight of Cups. And so he has ideas about how to make them feel more secure. So if we want to, we can move the 8 to the end. See, 8 and 5 13s, that reduces to 4, so we have a 4 numerology at this point. I am going to take another card, though, I think. But I think maybe that's how we need to read this. We start out with a change in circumstances. where there's some destitution involved, and the environment is just not conducive to have any kind of security at all, and you're so wrapped up in the issues that you can't really see the help that's there. But in comes the night. Now up here, you look at this winged disc. It's actually a sun, but you look at the wings here and the sun here. That's actually indicative of healing. And so he's offering something that's going to heal the issues going on here. So obviously, the knight is coming through with some compassionate advice or some compassionate support for whatever they're dealing with here. And maybe it involves working a new trade to get a little bit more security. Maybe they lost focus. Maybe they lost direction here. And they become so wrapped up in their issues and their grief and their loss that they can't see that there's something there. But in comes another individual who looks at the situation with compassion and offering, and maybe gets them connected with some kind of a school or a trade or some kind of training that helps to secure their future a little bit better. That would be in alignment with Acquisitio today, the Geomancy rune. And I'm thinking that Iwas would then probably be above the Knight of Cups, where the a higher level of awareness comes in, of compassion and understanding, and offers some kind of a solution. And again, maybe sets him on the course of, well, go get some training over there and you can, actually improve your circumstances. It just feels like there's been a change here where maybe people don't really know what to do. And it's going to take something else coming in and offering maybe something they never thought of before, or maybe they didn't know about. Sometimes you can get into some kind of a program where you learn a new trade, or you begin to focus on mastery of what you already know. Maybe it's a new job that's opening up that can help your circumstances. But it just seems like there's somebody that's going to come in and intervene and give you some solutions that you didn't think about before. And again, I'm trying to keep this somewhat general because it may not have anything to do with a job or anything like that. It could do it. Maybe it has something to do with just how you see your circumstances. And the Knight of Cups comes in and with his own level of understanding and compassion, and the visionary aspect of him. Because with the cups, the suit of cups, you're looking at empathic awareness. You're also looking at empathy. Sometimes you feel all alone when you're in these circumstances that are changing for you and they're not good. You just feel all alone, and you feel like there's really no solutions, no answers, because you can't think of them. Well, someone else may have some advice for you today, in the form of the Knight of Cups, who offers you something that gives you maybe a little more clarity on what's going on, and can move you in a different direction. There's the momentum side of Cups. I'm taking the 13th one here. Well, okay. Here's the thing about this. I know this looks bad. The 9 of so we have let's go back to this. We have 9 and 4. We have the actually we're going to come back to a 4, because we came to a 4 numerology between the 8 and the 5. That's 13. So that reduces to 4. 4 and 9 is also 13, which reduces to 4. So It's the foundation, it's the grounding, it's the structure, it's hard work, it's practicality, seeing things from a more practical way. We're not doing that here, are we? There's no practicality there. They're just wrapped up in all of the stuff they're experiencing, and the change in circumstances, and they can't see what's in front of them because there's just too much snow in the way, right? But here you have a person waking up from a nightmare. Now, one of the things that you see here, you see all 9 swords in order. All right, they're all hooked together. You also see a pattern here that also suggests order with the 9. But here you have somebody waking up from a nightmare, the nightmare of perception. And I suppose we can put this either in between the 5 of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups, or between the Knight of Cups and the 8, because I think that there has to be some awareness happens here. They put it all in order. They get rid of it. They let it go. And so this is actually a very positive card, even though it looks like, oh my God, I've been waking up from nightmares or something. But it's the nightmare of your own perception. And so you get things in order. And from there, you are either open to accepting the compassion and understanding of the Knight, or you wake up from your nightmare ready to receive the Knight of Cups offering, and then you're able to put things into a better perspective and to work toward your future. The thing is that we don't really know for sure, but it just seems to me that if you have devastation over here, and now you have something that's representing gain or acquisitio over here, then whatever the change in circumstances were, whatever perception you had about that, in fact, I think I'm going to put the 9 next to the 5. Whatever perceptions you have about that, you got to have a change in circumstance there. It's not just in the circumstances alone with the 5 of Pentacles, but there has to be a change in how you see things as well. And so once you do that, once you wake up from whatever's keeping you stuck in the perception that you have, that keeps you from seeing the help that's here, then you have the Knight of Cups coming in with the offering of some compassion and understanding, and a different type of change in circumstances, because again, the water element also suggests change and momentum and movement. So there's a movement out of the circumstances. You've let go of the perceptions that are keeping you stuck in whatever belief structure you have about the change in circumstances. And now you're ready to accept this gift, basically, of compassion and love and understanding from the Knight, so that you can then move in a different position, in a different direction, to where you can again regain your material security or your family security, where you can get the recognition and approval that you've been looking for, because the talent is obviously there. And you just need to be noticed, essentially. And I have to wonder if that's what this is. If it does have to do with a job, then maybe you've gone as far as you can go in a job and you realize that I'm not going to get anywhere here. People are not seeing the talent that I have. They're not seeing what I have to offer. Or maybe they do, but there's just no way for you to express it there. It's like the person who's overqualified for a job. A lot of people experience that. They've got all this ability to do all these great things, but they can't, there's nothing about the job that allows them to express that. And so it basically narrows their contribution, from one that could be more to something much less than what they could be. And see, and then the pay isn't commensurate with that. I remember my husband was up in Canada at a training, and he and how they did things up there is, say you had different skill sets, you had different certificates in different things or something. your pay would reflect that. Even though maybe those other things weren't part of the job you're doing, they paid you more because of that additional experience, which I thought was interesting. That's certainly not what happens here in this country, but it was, apparently it was the norm up there, or at least in that province where he was. And I think that that's just a really fascinating way to think about things. Here, we think about it as being overqualified. And so maybe they don't want to hire you because you're too qualified. And you really need to be in a different setting. So maybe they think you're just using this as a means to an end, and you're still going to be looking, and whatever effort they put into you to get you up to speed on the job you need to do is going to go by the wayside, and they're going to be back to where they started from. They're going to have to hire somebody else, right? Because you're really still looking for something else. Well, maybe that's where you find yourself, where you're in a situation where it's really not meeting your needs or meeting the talent that you have. And maybe you need a little bit more training, maybe you don't, but you need to have a way to express yourself in a way that makes more sense to you and is reflective of the talent and experience and skill set that you have. And there, with the 8, you will then find the material recognition and approval that you're looking for and that you deserve, right? But again, you have to let go of whatever's going on here, and maybe it's like when a job just basically ends because the business goes out of business, right? It's an awful thing for everybody there, because now they're panicking, wondering, well, what are we going to do? I got to pay the bills and all of that. But if you let go of that fear and you use it then as an opportunity, you've got something else that could open up that is even better than what you had. And there's that sense here, that flow toward that, of the gain of acquisitio. And not staying stuck in the kind of egoic perception that keeps you from moving forward. And I think that with the 9 of Swords, the 4th card that we drew here, I think that it's putting things in order, and it's letting go of the nightmare of perception, basically, that keeps you stuck, the fear that keeps you stuck from moving forward. In comes the knight. Knights are valiant. They're on a quest. They have lots of energy to take care of things. So maybe it's even embodying the Knight of Cups, not so much the meaning of it, but embodying that energy to then move forward into something else that can actually give you what you need. But again, I think with Aiwa's, you're looking at that flow of spirit and higher awareness that is able to overcome the perceptions in the 9 of Swords here. And I find it interesting that we start out with a 4 numerology and we end with a 4 numerology. And so I don't know. I think this is probably about your life, your security, your job, all of that, to ultimately find the material recognition and approval that you're looking for. And it's interesting because with the 4, the 8 amplifies it. It doubles it. So there's that feeling of this is where you need to go here. And it's interesting here with the 9, if we look at the 9 and the 5 together, that's 14, which also reduces to 5. So that brings us back to the 5 as well. So there's some interesting energy here surrounding the numerology as well. But again, I think that the 9 and the 5 are the 9 of Swords and the 5 of Pentacles. I think that they're connected here. And it has to do with how you see the changes that are happening in your life. If you view them with fear, and if you view them where you can't even so much as reach out to find other solutions, then you're going to stay stuck in that mode and you're not going to get anywhere. So you won't achieve the acquisitio or gain that you're looking for. Well, that's interesting. Interesting way to end the week, huh? Or to begin a new month, maybe. Letting go of things that aren't going to get you to where you want to go. And maybe using this month. Now we've got on the 9th of this month, Mercury goes retrograde again. So you're going to have to be a little careful for that 3 weeks. And usually you'll find the energy for about a week before and a week after the shadow phase of it, the approaching shadow and the ending shadow of it, where you may start to have some miscommunication or forget to do this or that or something. So you'll have to be very aware this next month. But it seems to me that maybe this is a month where you might achieve something else. And so just keep your eye on the ball and stay focused and stay diligent. That's the interesting part about the Eight of Pentacles. He works diligently. He's not off doing other things when he should be focusing on dealing with his life and his work. And that will be the case too with Mercury retrograde coming up. You're going to have to be diligent. You're going to have to stay focused and be sure of things, double check things to make sure you did something, that you paid that bill or whatever. Or that you remembered to do something, or also be aware of how you come across to others as well, how you communicate with others. That's going to be coming up. So fun times. I don't know. My granddaughter started kindergarten yesterday, and she's just adorable. So she's very tall for a 5-year-old, so she doesn't look 5, but she is. And she's so excited. I guess when she met her teacher, they did some evaluations, and teacher wanted her to draw this giraffe, and she insisted that they put a tree next to the giraffe because that's what they eat. They eat from the trees, and so there's got to be a tree there too. And so I don't know. She's fun. So anyhow, as the kiddos get back to school, it's going to be an interesting month, I think. And hopefully everybody stays well, and because you know how that goes. And with COVID still very, very active, I guess the 3rd booster or something has been approved, and I'm not sure when it's going to be available. So, but when it is, I think we're far enough between the last one and this one that we can get ours. So we stay well. Anyway, thanks for watching. And if you haven't clicked subscribe yet, I hope you'll do that and come back. I do this on Mondays and Thursdays. And join us again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Have a wonderful weekend and be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.